In another dimension, in a quiet neighborhood, a young boy named Josh discovered something incredible hidden in his backyard. Beneath an old oak tree, he stumbled upon a swirling, glowing portal. His curiosity sparked, and before he could think twice, he stepped through. Instantly, the world around him changed. Josh found himself standing in a futuristic city, surrounded by towering skyscrapers and flying cars. The streets were alive with strange but exciting sounds. Everything looked shiny and new. As he marveled at this unfamiliar world, a figure approached him. To his amazement, it was someone who looked exactly like him, but older and dressed in a white lab coat. "Whoa, you look just like me!" Josh exclaimed, taking a step back in surprise. The man chuckled. "That's because I am you." "Well, sort of. I'm Dr. Joshua, your alternate self from this dimension." As they passed towering buildings, Dr. Joshua pointed up to massive solar panels gleaming in the sunlight. "In this world," Dr. Joshua explained, "we've learned to use clean energy for everything. Solar power fuels our cities. There's no pollution, no smog." Josh stared in awe at the bright, spotless city. "That's amazing. My world has a lot of pollution." Dr. Joshua nodded. "It's something you can change too. The future is in your hands." As they continued walking, Josh noticed that people weren't using phones or devices like in his world. Instead, they seemed to communicate through thin air. "How are they doing that?" he asked, puzzled. "In this world, we've perfected brain-machine interfaces," Dr. Joshua explained. "People here can control technology with their minds. No need for phones or keyboards. It's all done through thought." Josh's eyes went wide as he watched a woman swipe her hand in the air, summoning a holographic screen from nothing. "That's so cool," he said, reaching out to touch it. His hand passed right through the glowing image. Dr. Joshua smiled. "There's a lot more to see." He led Josh to a sleek building where small drones floated around, scanning people as they entered. One of the drones buzzed over to Josh and scanned him with a quick flash of light. "These drones can diagnose health problems in seconds," Dr. Joshua explained. "We've eliminated many diseases and people live much longer now." Josh could hardly believe it. "That's amazing. In my world, we still have a lot of health problems." Dr. Joshua nodded. "It's another thing that can change, with time and effort." They moved on, heading toward a large complex filled with students wearing strange headsets. "This is how we learn here," Dr. Joshua said. "Virtual reality has transformed education. Students can experience history, travel to different times, and perform experiments without limits." Josh watched in awe as students were transported to different worlds, battling dinosaurs or flying through space. "School looks so fun here," Josh exclaimed. "It is," Dr. Joshua replied with a grin. "Learning is exciting when you can explore endless possibilities." Josh couldn't help but feel a little jealous. "I wish school was like that in my world." Dr. Joshua put a hand on his shoulder. "One day it could be. The future is yours to create." He took Josh to a massive entertainment center filled with virtual reality arenas. Inside, people were playing games that looked as real as life itself. Some were flying through the air, others battling monsters, and some were exploring magical lands. "In this world, games are fully immersive," Dr. Joshua said. "You can become a hero, a space explorer, or anything you can imagine." Josh's heart raced with excitement as he watched people leap and fight in incredible worlds. "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen," he said, grinning from ear to ear. But soon, the time came for Josh to return to his own world. Dr. Joshua led him back to the portal where it had all begun. "Before you go," Dr. Joshua said, "remember this. The future is shaped by what you do today. You have the power to change things for the better." Josh nodded, feeling inspired. "I'll never forget this. I want to make my world better, just like yours." With a wave, Josh stepped back through the portal. Colours swirled around him, and suddenly he was standing back in his backyard. The old oak tree stood tall, just as before, and everything seemed the same. But Josh knew that something inside him had changed. Over the next few days, the memories of his incredible journey started to fade, but the inspiration remained. Josh found himself thinking more about science, about how things worked, and about how he could make a difference in his world. Was it real? Had he really visited another dimension? Josh wasn't sure, but one thing was certain. The world was full of possibilities, and he was ready to explore them. As he stood in his backyard, looking up at the sky, he smiled to himself. Maybe there were other worlds out there waiting for him to discover. And when the time came, he'd be ready for the adventure.